What happens next in Israel? Part 16. Observant Jews, devout Muslims, and Christians who study Torah will refuse to worship the image of the beast and be in his economic system. The media forces of the beast will label them all as deluded, dangerous troublemakers or a threat to the world's peace and safety. The beast will place a death sentence on all who refuse to worship his image. Long before this, King Nebuchadnezzar had sentenced Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to death for not worshiping his image. A Christian recently stated that not all Christians will accept Armless, as the writers of the Midrash seem to indicate in video 15. However, Christians that Sadia knew were of the Roman Catholic variety that killed Jews from the Crusades to Hitler. There is no such thing as innocent blood of Jewish children. All Jewish blood is guilty, and the Jews must die because that is their punishment. Pope Pius XII, a Catholic cardinal, gives the Hitler salute. Archbishop Stepanek said, God has given us Adolf Hitler. Even Bishop Sheen said that the last pope will be the false prophet for the Antichrist, Armless, in Jewish eschatology. Some have said that Pope Francis is the last pope. Time will tell. The next slide will show why Christian Catholics may obey the command of a pope who tells them to worship the image of Armless, the beast, when it is set up in the third Jewish temple. Vicarious Filii Dei has been written on the crowns of popes since 900 CE. What's in a name? The letters used in the chart to the left are the same letters used on the crowns of popes today. Did the title on the crown go to their head? Look at what Pope Pius V and Pius XI said. The Pope and God are the same, so he has all power in heaven and earth. I am God on the earth. Is this why Roman Catholics will obey the Pope when he tells them to worship the image of Armless the beast that is set up in the third Jewish temple? Notice these words in Hebrew. Romiti equals Roman man. Rometh equals Roman kingdom. The Roman Catholic Christians will obey the Pope when he tells them to worship the image of Armless the beast that is set up in the third Jewish temple, since Leo the 13th said, "We hold upon this earth the place of God Almighty." Now isn't that a little presumptuous? Blind men approached an elephant. One touched the leg and said it was like a tree. One touched the nose and said it was like a big hose. One touched the side and said it was like a wall. One touched the tail and said it was like a rope. They were all partly right, but they could not see the completed picture of what they were touching. Many have called attention to the Rothschilds, the Windsors, the Rockefellers. But they do not understand that in the Roman Church and their orders, like the Jesuits, the power and wealth of ancient Rome morphed into a stronger and more far-reaching entity controlling Masons, etc. It has been said that all roads lead to Rome, but indeed, the tentacles of the Roman octopus reach out through these roads and touch so many things that people don't even realize. The singer in the song that is played at the end of the movie Men in Black said, "To understand the future, we have to go back in time." In presentation 6 and 7, we saw the numerical patterns based on 7 sabbatical years, followed by the Jubilee year declared in Leviticus 25, 6 to 12. Rabbi Judah ben Samuel prophesied that the Ottoman would rule over Jerusalem for 8 Jubilees. He made this prediction 300 years before there was an Ottoman Empire. But indeed, the Turks seized control of Jerusalem in 1517 and held it exactly 400 years. And then, exactly 1917, General Allenby drove the Turks out of Jerusalem. The rabbi prophesied that during the 9th Jubilee, Jerusalem would be a no man's land. This is what happened in 1917 to 1967. We saw that the use of drones was predicted in the book of the prophet Ezekiel in the 38th chapter of that book. And the future invasion and occupation of Israel is described. Supernatural events that follow that occupation will shock the world and temporarily subdue the Muslims who have tried to destroy Israel after failures to do so in 1947, 1948, 67, 73, 82, 91, 2006. After all this, the people of Israel live Yisrael Kai. A world leader will make and break a 7-year treaty with Israel and attack Israelis who do not worship his image and take his ID mark. The creator of the universe gave Israel the Torah. Can he help Israel to survive the rage of this world leader? We saw in parts 4 and 5 that Nazi commando Otto Skorzeny obtained help from unlikely diverse groups such as the Vatican, British MI6, and the CIA, who will lead the forces that will help this future leader obtain control over almost all the world. What group was and is now very important. Microchips are becoming smaller and smaller, and some people look forward to being cyborgs. Why does Sam's Club use the phrase member's mark? We feel that the use of the word mark and beast is conditioning people to hear these words now with the goal of making them more acceptable later. Now we must consider the influence of Albert Pike, Giuseppe Mazzini, Lord Palmerston, Otto von Bismarck, and others who followed them in making massive preparations to introduce the image of the beast to the world. The Palladian Rite. 4 leading members of that Palladian Rite in 1870 were Mazzini, Palmerston, Bismarck, and Pike. The Palladian Rite was created as the pinnacle of the pyramid of power. There is much information in this video. Please stop and look at it to absorb it all. Palmerston used the British East India Company to establish a monopoly on the production of Indian opium, transporting it to China. We must unremittingly endeavor to find in other parts of the world new vents for our industry, opium. This was the attitude that was behind the mistreatment of the people of color in and near various colonies controlled by the British Empire. Otto von Bismarck, unifying the states of the German Confederation, 1871. Wilhelm I of Prussia was proclaimed German Empire, the Second German Reich, to succeed the First Reich, the Holy Roman Empire. Bismarck became the first Chancellor of the German Empire. Albert Pike, top leader in the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, 1871, wrote the Masonic Handbook, Morals and Dogma. He established councils in Rome, Italy, London, England, Berlin, Germany, many parts of the world. August 15, 1871, Pike graphically outlined plans for 3 world wars that were seen as necessary to bring about the one world order. Luciferian worship and occult rituals. To you, sovereign grand inspectors general, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. Lucifer, light bearer. Lucifer, son of the morning. This is all from Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike said, yes, Lucifer is God. Albert Pike wrote to Mazzini on August 15, 1871, about the fomenting of 3 world wars that were to prepare the world for the worship of Lucifer. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Students of history will recognize that the political alliances of England on the one side and Germany on the other, forged between 1871 and 1898 by Otto von Bismarck, co-conspirator of Albert Pike, were instrumental in bringing about the First World War. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between fascists and political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the Illuminati between political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will become constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then, everywhere, the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Finally, brought out into the public view, this will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. This manifestation will be in the form of the image of Armilus the Beast. From 1871 to the present date, Masons and their fellow travelers with strategic contacts controlling massive wealth have worked steadily for many decades to set the beast on the world stage of power. Claims made that Pike's letter is a fraud are diluted by the fact that the letter was discovered before the First and Second World Wars. Myron Fagan, the public relations manager for Charles Evan Hughes, the Republican presidential candidate who ran against Woodrow Wilson, had the contents of the Pike-Mazzini World War plan in his hands in 1910. Public knowledge of the letter before the events came to pass is all that is necessary to establish the credibility of what was and is planned. The racial hatred of high demonic, Masonic, Luciferian leaders has been documented for years and is available to the serious researcher. Albert Pike is the most notable, but there are others. See more proof of their tradition of racist hatred in What Happens Next in Israel, Part 17. For more information and ways that you can help us to blow the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm, you may contact us, Hope of Israel, at Tikva Yisrael, by email shlomo1335@gmail.com. Ask for Shlomo. I'm Yisrael Kai. You may like us on Facebook and comment on Twitter and Tumblr.